welcome to the newest episode of the Articulate Ox podcast. I am your host, Soma79. Thank you so much for joining me today. My guests are Boston hip-hop production duo CLOAQxDAGGER, aka Mathais and Sizzlack. I've been a big fan of their work for years. I know them through a bunch of different mutual friends that have worked together, and we kind of came up in the scene together. They have a real awesome grimy style where it's like old school boom bap hip hop with like a modern twist. We get into a lot about how they make their beats and what it means to work together as a team. And it sounds like they get a really cool system worked out, and obviously by the way the music sounds, it's definitely working. So check out their albums with Oblivious and P-Row and Judge the Disciple. There's some of my favorites. And it's a great interview. Follow them on Instagram, follow them everywhere, and check out their music. Peace. Hey, welcome to the newest episode of the Articulate Ox podcast. I am your host, Soma79. My guests today are Boston hip-hop production duo CLOAQxDAGGER. We got Sizzlack and we got Mathais. What's going on, guys?
What's up, brother? How you doing?
Awesome. It's great to talk to you guys. It's been a long time. We were just talking before we started that I kind of took about a 10-year break from Boston hip-hop and came back, and you guys had all these albums out with all these artists that were part of my old crew, and I was like, holy shit. Hero, Judge D, Oblivious, like some of the most talented people I know, and your beats are really bringing out the best in them. So congratulations on your success with that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I agree, lucky enough to have like the best, most productive artists in our corner. It's a blessing.
Yeah, definitely. I remember Judge when I met him when I was probably like 22 or 23. This is like 20 years ago. And he was already like a fully formed artist. Like he was already just his like the way he probably thought about KRS-One was the way that I was looking at him. Because his voice was already so big and his vocabulary and everything. I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah, literally. He's like cut from a different cloth. I've seen this dude sit down and write a 16 in less than 16 minutes. Like, and it'd be like the most illest, crazy thing you ever heard. You know what I mean?
After hearing the beat one time.
Yeah, like the dude, he's cut from a different cloth.
Judge D no sleep, man.
Yeah.
He came by my house and we recorded an album that never came out called Rome Wasn't Burnt in a Day. And I think he just brought his notebook and I played like 10 beats and he recorded most of it in like 2 days. And now it's all old, but like it's still, when I listen to it, I still think it's like, I'm like, dude, this is awesome. And he's like, I got much better stuff. And I'm like, you're probably right, but it's still dope.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that's Zack. Yeah, he's been an insane MC for years, man.
Yeah. So how did you guys get your start? I mean, I remember Mathais, you during the end of the Mike Monarchy days, you were helping us out with some of that production. So that was dope. I think that's the first time we met. But how did you guys get started?
We originally started the Starving Artist Day. So Aztech first. Aztech had brought me out to a couple shows, like invited me to a couple shows. One of them happened to be in Quincy at the My House bar.
Yep.
And so we were over there, and then he introduced me to like Oblivious and like Thorny and a couple other heads, and then I just got in the team. I had been producing for a little while prior or whatever, and then I got hip to Starving Artists. We started cooking together. Like I was solo tape, you know what I'm saying, mixed and mastered by Mathais out of the Starving Artist studio. And then, like you said, we took a little break, and then I think we was at La Teb's crib at like a cookout, and we were sipping a little bit, and I'm like, yo, Mathais, we should start making beats, like, you know what I mean? We should make a group or something, like a duo, you know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, it'd be dope. So from there, we just started cooking, man, and we didn't even have a name at first, you know what I mean?
Judge D actually named it.
Yeah.
Oh, word? I didn't know that. Where'd the name come from?
Comics, it came from the comic.
Oh,
we ended up, we ended up spelling it a little different with the Q and shit like that. But that's how it basically started, man. And then like that was probably what, 5 years ago?
5, 6 years ago.
Yeah, 5 or 6 years ago. And then like the first 3 years was us just cooking beats. You know what I mean? anybody. We're just getting like hip to the process, and then
trying to figure out different ways. Like I started out as an engineer, you know, like how we met. So
Yep.
how I originally got into music was I listened to hip hop growing up in Boston, skateboarding and shit. And then I moved to the South Shore when I was like 15, 16, and actually met Pilsy and Joey Glenn and all those
Oh,
cats
yeah.
from Quincy through skateboarding. And with the whole crew, you know, all four and a fifth. And from there, just started making music because there was just nobody really had a way to record their shit. Everybody was writing over beats, and you know, this was post like Gutterheads and shit when like they had the studio at Hectics, but
Yeah.
that was gone at that point.
Well, like prior to you guys, it was like I feel like 90% of the beats that we were rapping over were all Holbrook's beats, or Mastermind as he was going by back then. And it was like
Literally.
Yeah, and I think I don't think he still makes music. I don't know when he stopped, but it felt like there was a cutover where, and I love his beats, but like we were all back then using we were using dated equipment and still learning how to do it. Like there wasn't like the polish. It was more of that grimier Vengeful Minds Project.
Yeah, you guys had
You
like
guys evolved a bigger sound.
Yeah. Holbrook's still making beats here and there. I still get him fucking around. Still wake up regularly. I was just texting him yesterday about going to San Francisco to go skate and shit. But
he's another
Holbrook's
dude who he's good at everything he does. I remember he like messed up his like Achilles heel or something, and he couldn't skate. So he just taught himself to skate. Then he taught himself to skate like Goofy Foot. And I remember seeing him just balancing on the board, and I was just like, "Fuck, man, I can barely walk." Like,
yeah, Holbrook is the most talented individual I've ever met.
Yeah,
he literally showed me how to make beats, which is just funny. So we had that Starving Artist studio, and I had been engineering maybe 5-6 years, you know, and everybody was just making beats, and I was just sick of recording motherfuckers every day for free, not being, you know, doing anything artistic at all. I mean, other than engineering, which I was shit at the time, but I remember Holbrook coming through and begging him to teach me how to use the MPC, you know, like with the floppy disks and this old ass machine.
Yeah.
And he literally was like, "Nah, I'm not showing you. I'm showing everybody in their fucking mother. Nobody makes music on it. It's a pain in the ass. Like, nah." So I just kept smoking him up, and I'm like, "Yo, tell me how the fuck to do this. Like, how do I turn this shit on? How do I chop samples? Like, I use Pro Tools. Fuck, what is this?" And he gave me like the quickest run through as fast as he could. Left the studio, and like 2 weeks later, came over, and I'm still making beats. He's like, "How the fuck did you remember all that shit?" Yeah, from there out, it's just been crazy.
Yeah, there is definitely a learning curve to that shit. Because I mean, I've never had an MPC, but I have a little Boss sampler like 505 from back in the day, and it's like I'm still learning new shit on it. And it's just there's obviously technical limitation to the older equipment where you can't sample as longer or the sample rate isn't as good, but you can still do amazing things. Like I think a lot of Donuts by Jay Dilla was done on a sampler that was like a lesser version of the one I have. So it's like no excuses, you know.
I got one of those put away. It is hard as shit to make shit on. You know, you limited sample time and all that shit. But
yeah, but there's something that's beautiful about that, man.
Like,
you know what I mean?
It makes you more creative.
Yeah.
Like you have limited possibilities. You have to do shit different.
Facts. Yeah. Now anybody can just go on YouTube, rip a sample, loop it in like an app that they have on their phone, and like, you know what I mean, make a beat in 2 minutes. But like, it's just something, I don't know, man. I always like more primitive or whatever style of hip hop. I always been like that too.
Yeah, it's like when you think back to like what people did, before us, like with pause tapes on tape decks. Like that was before my time, but I don't know how long I'd have the patience to do that shit for. Like I would, it seems impossible. Like I think I probably couldn't do it now, like effectively.
Facts.
I would be horrible.
Yeah.
I have a reel to reel over here, and that shit is tough as fuck to fuck.
Yeah. I went to film school years ago, and we were like the last class at the school that learned on like the old physically cutting it and scotch taping it together. And it was like you're using equipment from like the 50s, and it was like, well, everything looks like shit. Don't worry, in 2 years this will all be on a computer and it'll be way less cheaper and it'll be way better. But we have your money now.
That's just hilarious.
So Crack, what about you? What did you learn on? Like what type of equipment did you cut your teeth with?
I started basically way back in the day, yo, FL Studio, like I don't know, 6 or some shit, way
Fruity
back in
Loops?
like yeah. And then I ended up using the Triton. My man, so I linked up with these cats on the south side of Brockton. It was family already. We went by Storm Riders, bunch of cats from the south side, and my man had ended up getting Triton, and some shit had happened at his crib, and basically that, but he ended up needing to stash it at my crib, and so he left it there for like I think 3 months, and then I started fucking with it heavy, and then from there like I used like the MPD, and then I've upgraded to the machine, basically when me and Matthias were like a few years in, because he ended up getting the machine and we like it was just easier. We both got the same setup now. You know what I mean? We both got the same exact computer, same exact machine. Like we're able to do so much more that drop samples at my crib, send them like right into the Google Drive or whatever, and then we'll just come here, open it up, and finish a beat. Or he could do the same thing, start something, send it over, I'll lay some drums or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I started way back, but like I feel like
It's gotten crazy now.
yeah,
The
yeah, yeah,
workflow's been crazy.
yeah.
So originally, when we started working, it was like, how do we mash our shit up? Like, he uses Fruity Loops, I use Pro 2000. It's like, what's the easiest workflow, you know? So I think we originally decided to go with the MPC 2000 just because it was easier, medium for both of us because we understood both ends of it. And then, you know, it was a couple of years of like every week or every 2 weeks having like one ill beat. Like we made one ill beat this week and it was dope because it didn't take us 3 weeks to chop it and flip it with 6 seconds here and 5 seconds there. And,
right.
We switched to like the MPC digital when that first came out, the MPC Black, and that changed our production crazy. Like we were able to go from like a week to two to making a beat in a day. You know what I mean? Making a couple of beats over the week, you know what I mean? And linking up twice a week to make them.
Right.
And now, since we switched to like the machine, we both have the exact same setup. Google Drive folder that's split between both of our computers, so everything's uploaded live. We can make 5, 7, 8 beats in a day, make a whole tape with an MC on the spot, and just like not be restrictive as creatively as we are.
Yeah, it's like funny. Everything you're talking about is all stuff that would have made our processes so much easier back in the day. But it's like now there actually is the technology to link these systems together. And the little bit of forethought of going, we should be using the same stuff is like a huge, you know, back then we were using what we could. Be able to make the choice now is huge.
Exactly. It's just, it's been definitely upped our game to like be able to do so much more. Like, not just us too, but like also like the rest of like knuckle draggers. You know what I mean? Like we just surrounded by like crazy artistic, like wicked gifted people, and like man, it just made us step our shit up too. You know what I mean? So having having the exact same equipment, exact same computer, everything's just it just makes the productivity like so much higher.
So what is like your workflow process like? I mean, is it you guys like sitting there twisting the knobs together, or is it one of you do the drums, another one does the bass, or like or does it change different for you?
Everybody
asks that. We both do everything, you know what I mean? So
So the way it usually works is like we'll both dig for samples, put them in a shared drive, which are literally CLOAQxDAGGER samples on one shared email. We both can go through it, pick what we like. If it's mutual decision and move to the next round, then if we like it, usually a spot or it'll be previously chopped up by one of us, ready to go. We get up on Mondays and Saturdays. After work on Mondays, like a full day session on Saturdays. We go into our little Google Drive notepad. It's a bunch of files that says to be sampled, already chopped, beats that are too ill to show anybody, beats that are finished, beats that are gone, you know what I mean? And it's like, come in, dig through the ones that are, we both agree on it real quick. Yep, cool, we're down. We'll just flip it, like open up the session, somebody fucks with the sample.
It's like whoever opens the file or whatever, like we've both done this, we do the same shit.
So like one of us will open it, maybe start making some loops on the fucking drums, or start flipping the sample, and then I got this little cart that the machine sits on, and we just flip it back and forth between us
Oh, that's dope.
until someone makes a bunch of samples. We flip a bunch of fucking shit. We're happy with drums, cool. Then we start building it out. As we build it, one of us will make something. If we hear something we want to change, we tell them.
Yeah.
If it's whack, we tell them to delete it.
Yeah.
Neither of us really give a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's all about having fun, really.
Yeah. We definitely mad critical of each other too, though. You know what I mean? Like, we're not like, I'm not gonna hype my man up just to like
Right.
make some whack shit. I'm like, bro, nah.
Oh, yeah, literally, it's perfect because it gives us better quality music. But
Right.
Yeah, you guys
neither
seem
one
like
of
you're
us-
approaching this with like not a lot of ego, which is a healthy way to do it.
Nah.
there is zero ego. Like,
Nah.
we're just here to make music, and
Yeah.
luckily, all of our boys are fucking film musicians. And
Right.
we got to keep it moving that route, you know.
Right.
And
Right.
the fact to build with people outside of that circle just makes it more fun for us.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's so hard to find people to work with that you actually can work with and have that relationship with, or it's actually positive. I mean, it's like, I mean, I've definitely been in groups where it's like you're in a relationship with four people and it works about as well as being in a relationship with four people. It's just like, well, how could we have done nothing? How could we have sat here all day and done nothing? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's zero ego here. Like, we're just here to make music, and luckily, the shit we make, people like as much as we do.
Yeah.
And having the schedule like you guys described is huge too, because I mean, obviously as artists, most of us are to some degree kind of flaky, and you know, we need that level of structure to sort of get things done. It's helps a lot.
Yeah.
It definitely helps. I'm also running the studio here still, so like, I'm still mixing and mastering, recording fucking MCs 3-4 times a week on top of our shit. So having those 2 days blocked out permanently just makes it easier for us to either work on our own projects, make beats, reach out to artists we want to work with, and just have discussions. And then for the what's up, Cat?
He went to
Then
the
for the rest
ER
of the week,
yesterday. Oh, now she's knocking
be
stuff
able to
over.
fucking,
Yeah.
just being able to make music and be on a schedule just gives us more productivity.
Yeah, for sure. So I know, so I always, the more and more I do these, I forget about the actual intent that we have a topic we're going to talk about here. And so we should get in that a little bit. I want to get back to these albums shortly too, because these blew my mind. So we'll get back to these, Donnie. Oh yeah, Oblivious and whatever, and Judge the Disciple. It's so hard for me to call him Judge the Disciple because I called him Judge D for so long. But
Right.
I just call him Danny.
yeah, it's true. Yeah. But so what were your early inspirations? Like what got you into hip hop in the beginning? Like what are your roots there that got you into making it? Really fumbled that question.
Yeah. My aunt's probably only like 12 years older than me. Like, I remember being like 8 or 9 and her like just pumping BET and WERS.
WERS.
Just putting me on to hip hop I never even heard of. Like, yo, here's this ill tape. Like, it's a West Side Connection tape. Like, here you go. Like, Cypress Hill and, beating us. Like, just ill music. Like, luckily she had great taste to pass it on. My household was really like rolling reggae, and my aunt had that hip hop hookup. And growing up in the '90s in Boston was a pretty big scene. So luckily, I grew up around that.
Yeah, I grew up around Michael Bolton and the Eagles, so you did a little better than me. That's what was playing in my house, little Huey Lewis and the News.
Yeah.
Hilarious, but it's still great music.
Yeah, it is. What about you, Craig?
I wouldn't say nobody really put me on. I was more like curiosity for me. It's like a fan of hip hop. I came up. I'm still to this day more a fan of than I am a creator of hip hop. You know what I mean? Like I love that shit. I love the new generation of like the hip hop renaissance that we're kind of living through right now too. With like, but I would say like there were artists that stuck out to me, and that kind of led me towards wanting to make music. But like coming up in the '90s, Wu, of course, was like huge for me. Mobb Deep, of course, was huge for me. Just that sound, that New York CNN, like that New York sound was just, but especially Wu being like the first album, just so dirty and like just so, it's just great, man. Like that sound was just, it always stuck out to me. You know what I mean? So like heads like that is what made me wanna. I wouldn't say it made me want to create. Been a creative cat and like whatever, but I would say like I strive to make that type of sound because that's what I like to hear. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And like
It's,
even before it really became cool again for like boom bap to be like in the front line like it is now a little more. There was a lot of heads that kept it alive. You know what I mean? Throughout the 2000s and shit, and like you got heads like Tragic Allies and shit like that that are actually getting crazy shine. You know what I mean? But it's ill to see that they kept that ill sound like alive through the time when it wasn't cool to do that. And you know what I mean? But
right.
now it's ill, man. It's ill. And even like I said, like working with starving artists and shit like that. Cats like P-Roll that was making fucking American graffiti albums, boom bap shit that could have dropped in fucking '95,
Right.
dude. You know what I mean? Like, and yeah, man, heads like that. And at the end of the day, between making music, I think between like us inspiring each other is like the rest of the people we move with. They're just like the most talented people in the world, dude. Like shout out to P-Roll, who's just amazing at anything he does. You know what I mean? The illest,
Yeah.
graphic artist, visual paint, producer, MC, like
Person.
yeah, person,
Yeah.
all in general,
Yeah.
father, you know what I mean? Like the dude's just a fucking man, and like working with somebody like that, you can't help but be better, man. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's what inspired me to this day. I know I kind of took a left turn with it, but that's
Nah.
that's
Shout out to Piro
yeah.
too. I can't reach it, but I have a piece of art he made on my wall for me of Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel, one of my favorite Marvel characters, and love it. Look at it every day. I mean, he as good as he is as an MC and a beat maker, he's as good as an artist. It's like I couldn't. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah, he's insane.
And he's
Yeah.
finally since he came back, he's been making waves too. I don't know whether you know or not, but he's part of the Knuckle Draggers crew. You
Yep.
know what I mean? The six of us. So yeah, man, he's like he's. I feel like the world's starting to see his brilliance. You know what I mean? Like something that everybody locally and everybody in the team, everybody that ever met him already knew. But I feel like he's starting to grow in like bigger circles now and stuff. It's like I'm proud as hell of that dude. And everything we make with him, with him, and I've produced an album for him, like a solo album for him as well. It's just a blessing. Work.
Yeah, yeah. I remember you mentioned my house before. I think maybe one of the last there was a time when I was at my house and I hadn't seen P-Ro for a while and he was at the bar and I was talking to him and he's like, by mistake I credited you as being the producer on my whole album. And I think I remember this correctly because like I did one song, but like it said like produced by Somatic or Soma 79, but then the rest of it got cut off that would have said that all the other producers. It was something like that. I can't remember the exact story. But if that is the case, Piro, correct me if I'm wrong. I'll take it because it would be an honor.
That's great.
Yeah, man, he's a beast, man, and like the rest of the camp too, and even people that aren't dragons that are like heads like Oblivious and shit like that. Would just, you know what I mean? Like he could get so topical on something and just be. He's just another insane MC too.
Yeah, he's just one of the most unique people I've ever met in my life. It's probably a good time to show this album, Oblivious, Crack Sizzlack, Sedimentary Rose. Every time I read that word, I feel like I say it wrong, but that's right, Sedimentary Rose. So Oblivious, I've known him since I think the beginning when he first started rapping. Like I have this memory of I think the first time I met him at Judge's place, and he was probably not even maybe he was 19, I think. And like he was a little like marble mouthed and he was still working it. And then within like 6 months, he was just like one of the best MCs from the crew. And he just kept getting better and better and better. And he's always been his own person. He's never been scared to be his own person. And when every album he puts out, I love all the tracks. There's always one or two that absolutely blow me away and becomes my favorite songs of all time. Like what is it, Controlled Demolition, Dope Era. I could listen to those two over and over again, and there's some on this album too. So let's give him a little bit of shine. Let's toss some flowers that way, no pun intended. How'd you hook up with Oblivious, and what's it like working with him?
I met Donnie probably when he was 18, 19 myself. I moved, out here from Boston. Him chilling with the same people. I used to chill with little Steve-O at his crib.
Oh my
Donnie Dave
God,
with his sister.
Steve-O. I haven't thought of him in a long
Yeah,
time. Hush's little brother, right?
yeah, yeah. Older brother.
Oh, the older brother. Yes, he's still around. I haven't seen him in forever.
Yeah, I see Stevie regularly still. Like I'm still down with everybody. Still chill with the same crew.
Tell him I said what's up.
Yeah, I definitely will. But yeah, I met Donnie back then, and the first time I worked with him was actually some recordings of like real music, like actually doing like a project. Like I did the actual issue project
Oh yeah.
originally with Donnie. So I did, we recorded that one night. I think I mixed it in like 4 days, and
You recorded that album in one night?
yeah,
Holy.
one or two nights in a bedroom. And then we shot that "Fuck You" video. I shot that. I used to shoot skateboard videos. It was horrible, but it looked so nice. So I actually do like it now, but it was bad back then. But
Yeah.
that's how I linked up with Donnie. Still four and a fifth. you
Yes.
know, but yeah, that's how I originally got up with him. I think Crack got up with him through.
Yeah, I mean, I had originally seen him at I was saying that my house. That was the first time I seen him rock. Like I seen dude come on stage. It was I think Aztech and I was about to go outside and like have a cigarette. And Tech was like, nah, it's my man right here. Like, be cool, whatever. And he knew like Tech knew my whole mentality and shit. And I see this white dude go on stage with a fucking t-shirt tied over his head, like spitting some like crazy revolutionary shit, throwing his fist up. I'm like, yo, this is my guy right here, bro. So I'm like, you know what I mean? Me and him, we always hit it off as like great friends from the start. Like like he's one of the top notch people I've ever met as a human being, period. Um,
100%.
but he happens to be one of my favorite MCs as well. So yeah, we had worked back in the day. I had produced a couple joints for him back in like the Starving Artist days, and he was on it. He was on my audio crack album originally. But I had always like it was like a bucket list thing for me to like produce an album for him. And at some point he just ended up so like he was talking about beats, right? So like if I chop some joints or I find some samples that he's not fucking with for Cloak and Dagger shit, I'll just keep them and make dolo beats, you know what I mean? Still. So I had a stash of a bunch of joints and he's like one day he was just like, yo, send me some beats. And then we just from there, yo, he was real motivated to get it done. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, it was a blessing, man. It was a blessing where I love that piece of work, man. Like the whole thing to me is just it's and he came here, recorded it. Mathais recorded the whole shit. Mathais, mixed and mastered the whole thing. Like it's like there's pretty much nothing I do that Mathais isn't involved in, or like vice versa. Like whether it's sharing samples or whatever it is, like you know what I mean. It's always just because I made the original beats. This dude was just as much, if not more, a part of it because he sat through every session, recorded every session, like you know what I mean. So, but like you know what I mean? Share the love because without Matthias, bro, like most of this shit wouldn't happen. You know what I mean? Because this dude's just like countless nights, bro. We'll be here till late as fuck. You know what I mean? We just lock in. Like Grim had actually come up here a few weeks
Grim.
back. Yeah. And we locked in for a day and like just recorded like a whole EP. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, bro. Like we all put in work on that album. And,
yeah,
I love
Donnie's
it.
one of those people who like is sort of designed to have a camera on him. Like he's like I've seen still shots of him that probably Trespass and Mooney took that just really he captures him perfectly. He's got a lot of character. And I know he probably is someone who hates reality TV, but I bet if you followed him around with a camera for a while, you could piece together something very entertaining and probably informative. Like he's just one of those people who's he's engaging to be around. He's but he's also he's charismatic, but he's also thoughtful and just very interesting.
He's actually starting a YouTube channel teaching people how to grow their own food and how to grow shit.
That's cool.
So that'll actually be a very cool show to watch.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah, he's
just got this vibe to him, like sort of like somewhere between like Steve-O and like the Briscoe brothers, like the wrestlers. Like he just has this like thing about him where he's bigger than life and so talented, like so talented.
yeah, like he's this dude. Like all those Wolf videos that he did with Lateef, like I feel like he partially directed, like I think most of them. You know what I mean? Like I remember being in one of them at it was like behind his house, and he was like basically telling Carl like what to do in the shots and everything. Like he always has like
visualize videos for pretty much everything we do. Like, every time we go to finish like a project, and I'm sitting there trying to master, like I got this idea. It's just like visualized treatment of a whole film for it. It's like, all right, well, the project comes out in 2 weeks. How do we do it?
Yeah, yeah, he is one of those. It's funny you say that because he is someone who seems to always be thinking like 2 steps ahead creatively. Like,
oh, definitely.
And I'm sure he's benefiting a lot from having people like you guys around him. Because I mean, back then we had such low resources, like we didn't know how to do this stuff. But now with technology, it's like he's in a perfect position to shine. You know?
Yeah, I mean, luckily, like all of our talking about are super talented, so we now can be our own label. Like we do everything in house, from production to recording, to mixing, to mastering, to artwork, and getting stuff pressed up. Like everything's done in house. Our overhead's super low.
And I'll tell you, these records look beautiful. Like, they really. I'm kind of in the market. I'm working on an album, or the album's done, but I'm doing an album and film, and it's coming out next year. And I'm thinking about pressing it up. And I'll talk to you guys off air about how you have this set up. But these look awesome, and they sound awesome, and like it's beautiful. Because, sometimes you see independent hip hop and it looks like shit and sounds like shit, but you guys don't have that problem.
Yeah, we're lucky, man. We the way we move is I'm not to like pat myself on the back or ourselves on the back, but we got it kind of down to a little bit of a science where we're able to release everything on and on CD digital without coming too much out of pocket, and being able to like we could do small runs, we could do different shit like that, and not lose too much money other than the equipment. You know what I mean?
I'll never get my money back on that. The way I buy it, but that's a fact.
Yeah, but yeah, man. Yeah, with yeah. End of the day, we'll talk off there.
Yeah, I was super impressed. It's so do you guys one thing I did want, this is also this question for me, but it's a question in general. When you mix for vinyl, do you do a different master for the vinyl than you do for the CD, or?
Yeah, vinyl cassettes and like digital CD are all a little bit different. Like CD and digital releases are pretty much the same, like volume wise, but vinyl has to be knocked back. Like you don't want the needle jumping, the channels to be too wide. Like you want to have that crisp sound, but still have the overall vibe of the original record. So to do that, you just got to process it a little bit differently. Same thing with like a release.
That answer just cost me like $1,000 to $1,500 because I know I'm gonna have to get my album mastered again for vinyl.
Not really mastered again, but like there's just tweaks to the master.
Oh, cool. Maybe I'll get lucky.
As long as you go back to the original mastering source, like it should be pretty simple for them to go back and give you a different.
Sweet, you just saved me money. It's a real emotional roller coaster. So we mentioned the name Aztech a few times here. He was already on the podcast. Like he's the dude that I think of as sort of being the heart and soul of Boston hip hop. He's somebody who everybody respects. He's been around the scene for a long time. I don't think I've ever heard anybody have a bad word to say about him for good reason. I saw that you guys are posting on social media about he was at Anime Com because he works on Dr. Stone. How was that experience, and what was it like working with him?
It's always great. Aztech's my brother, man. Both of us, fucking that's one of my closest homies. It's always a great time artistically, especially just being able to get up and make some ill music for fun. But Aztech's just the homie. So
we blessed to work with him as well. Like I him as a fan, like seeing him on the scene, you know what I mean? Like I see shows with him rocking, whatever. I think we ended up talking. I think at like the spot next to the Middle East, that little pizza spot that used to be there on the
Oh
corner or whatever.
God, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like,
I've been
oh,
drunk
check
there
that.
so many times.
Yeah, facts. So yeah, man, and like, yeah, dude's a ill motherfucker. But like you said, like he's he is Boston hip hop
Yeah,
fully.
it really is.
It only is that like he knows he's worked with everybody. He's worked with everybody in one capacity or another.
I think,
Like he's just
he's the man. But I think originally how I linked up with him was through, that South Shore and North Shore connection through, all the homies like Judge and
Yeah.
Oblivious and all those. And luckily, I was able to be a part of Indu Dance 2 release with him and DJ Drama. Like that was super fun.
Yeah.
Me and Pilsy ran Starving Artists and got to release that through our label. Wish it did better at the time, but that's a fucking great project. But Aztech is such a big part of Boston culture, and hopefully more people get to see that now, that it get more recognition through
Yeah.
his anime work. Along with Paranorm as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I always forget this. My first solo set ever was at Aztec's Revolutionary Ruins record release party. So like he's yeah, it's just so talented, and it's just I don't know, like he's someone who no matter where I go, I'm like Aztec might be here, and half the time he is, and I'm like, oh good. Like it's like and there were a bunch of times when like I remember I had tickets to go to the Czarface meets Ghostface record release party in Boston that they were doing, and like the last minute my date dropped out on me and I just didn't go because I'm like, I'm not, who am I gonna know there? Then the next day I'm like, oh fuck, Aztec was there, of course he was there.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I guess I'll get it next time. Ugh, can't even talk now. So did you guys go to Anime Con?
I did with them. I was acting as their manager in some sort of capacity.
That's cool. They were performing there too, right?
Yeah, so they were the music headliner and actually the only musical act for the con, and just did a full concert. It was dope as shit.
God, that's so
It was
awesome.
real dope.
Man. Yeah, that's dope. So what else you guys working on? Like where do you want to be like in a year or so, or like what do you want to have under your belt by then?
Well,
we kind of taking it a little easier compared to last year.
Yeah. Well, yeah, 2020 is gonna be like hard and shit.
Yeah.
And like, but we're working on a lot of shit, man. We got a whole fucking like a whole board full of projects. So we have 3 projects done right now, ready to go. We have our second full length album release. We have a project that we did, like I mentioned earlier when Prim came up. We did in a day. It's like a 7-track project.
Like mad MCs that just
came, with a bunch of posse cuts
came
and
through or emailed us some shit.
Yeah, that's just gonna be dope. And then we actually got a full album. I think it's like 14 tracks with Oblivious and with Judge about to drop.
Really? Like that got dual album with both of them?
It's already mastered, ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's really good too, man. It's some of my favorite work of them, like working with it. Like I love when Judge does like he had the joint with Slant back in the day.
Yeah.
The album they had together. And I feel like him working with somebody else that's kind of different it just brings the best out of him too. So like that combo is crazy. That album's dope. But as far as me, I would just like to still be doing this, having fun, man. You know what I mean? End of the day, like this shit's fun to me. You know what I mean? Like as long as we, financially in the hole, we're always growing. You know what I mean? We're always making new connects and shit like that. It'll be dope to keep branching out, working with other artists. We were lucky to, link in with some of the legends out here. I feel like through just having our name on like some shit. You know what I mean? And year from now, maybe I don't know, maybe some bigger acts outside of the team or whatever. But as I feel like as long as we're still building with, our fam, then I'm good with that.
For sure.
I mean? Yeah.
For sure.
Now, what about the track I Told You? Like, can you guys talk a little bit about how that came together?
Which one's that?
That's the one with Excel.
Oh, on Donnie's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excel's he's dope too, man. He's a whole nother breed, man. That dude, he like he writes these crazy. Oh, I know which one are you talking about? XL or XL?
It's XL. It's the one that's the first one that comes up on your Spotify page.
Damn.
I told you. Hold on 1 second.
I can play it for you.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
It's dope. I was listening to it earlier today.
It was prophesied that I would rise. Knew it would play out.
Yeah,
Even
that's
though I
what-
had traumatized
yeah.
on my mind. Said I couldn't keep it off.
This one right on my workout mix. Like the second I heard it, I was just like,
That's funny. Yeah, I was just making sure you was talking about XL and not XL the Beast.
oh yeah, oh okay, yeah.
Yeah, man. Donnie has a whole project with him. That we produce. You know what I mean?
We also get a with him as well.
Yeah.
And we're working on another project with him. Well, actually, 2 more projects with him.
Yep.
Right now, currently.
Shit.
Yeah. So him and Donnie, like they always link in, like they link up at the lab. They'll write his shit on the spot. You know what I mean? And like so, yeah, man. He's just a different breed, man. He's dope. He's also from Brockton. I'm from Brockton, so shout out to XL. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. I think it was just a lot of this shit's organic. We'll just link up and like go through beats, and if Excel's there, like Donnie could like come through or whatever, and just knock it out.
We never like built musically first. Like I think we were working on music, and Donnie started hanging out with homie and brought him through to just chill and heard what we were doing and was like, "Yo, let's build." And we worked on the spot and just organically built a friendship and came out with some dope music together.
Yeah.
So what have you guys seen I know I'm sounding like a nerd for watching this, but somebody gave me a subscription to Masterclass, which is that app where you have like these like big name people who will teach like a class or something on whatever. And Timberland had one. And any chance you guys saw that?
No.
All right. If you guys can find like a bootleg version of it, it's definitely worth watching. I don't know why I just said that. I'm not endorsing piracy, but whatever. You know, I'm kidding. But like it's so worth watching because you just see him literally start building a beat with his mouth, and he just sort of builds it completely like out of his head, and then he just turns it into music, and it's one of the most unbelievable things I've ever seen. And when I watched it, I was like, oh, that totally changes the way I think about music completely. And then I actually had another moment like that today where I had a guest on last week who's he just made this like kind of classical ambient album, but he's like he's a piano player his entire life. And I'm like, I'm like, maybe I should ask this dude about this verse that I wrote and like how I can improve it. And he came back with like these 10 paragraphs full of all these words I'd never heard before or probably should know. And I started Googling it, and I re-recorded the verse and it sounded 30 times better. And I'm just like, yeah. So like, have you guys ever had those moments where you just felt like all your years of work click at a moment and kind of kick up a notch? Because I mean, that's sort of what I live for as a musician is like, a lot of time it starts being inspired by somebody else, but then once it absorbs in, you just feel like you left the studio that day a better artist than you walked in. You guys ever had any of that?
I don't know if there's been any specific moments, but I know, especially with the engineering and mixing, like Mathais has come like 1,000 times over. You know what I mean? Better than. But I feel like you taught yourself for the most part, like trial and error a lot. You know what I mean?
Never like production wise. I walked away. Got that much better today.
Right.
Always looking back and be like, damn, what the fuck we learned how to do that? Like, when did we start doing this? Like, how did that start sounding better? But like you said, I think I started off recording because my friends needed somebody to record music. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was making skate videos and had a computer that could hold Pro Tools down. And with the engineering side, definitely I've noticed progression. Like through the starving artist days, I went from like not knowing shit right before that to recording like the Eat Shit tapes with Donnie and all these other albums and releases we did back then, and just like luckily my friends let me fuck their music up so I could learn how to be better. And
Same.
Now it's like I took a couple years off after that studio got shut down. Well, not shut down, but like we just closed it. Took a break until me and Crack started making beats. We had that need to record again, not that we wanted to, but that it was just easier to make music we wanted to make and put people on projects we wanted to make. And I had to get back into it. Since then, like the progression, like I still never taken a course or watched videos or learned from anybody, but just going from like 1 week to the next, I'm like, God damn, what the fuck did I do? Like, how do I keep recreating the sounds? Like, let me up some equipment here and go a shitty mic to like a $2,000 mic, going from a little M box with one port to go into the shittiest speakers to like get me the ill speakers and investing in outboard equipment like an Avalon, being able to just like step it up. And like now I'm at the point where it's like I work with a couple of ill mastering engineers, and shout out to my homie Gene Mindspawn, like going out to Cali and working with him, like Grammy nominated and shit, makes some ill act. Being like, what the fuck did I do? And it's like, oh, just check these two little things out, bro. And like, other than that, it's just good. It's like getting some ill confidence from working with people that inspired me originally, like growing up listening to their music or being like impressed by like some ill shit. And now being able to call these people my brothers, like giving you just like that mental game, being like, fuck, I'm on the right way. It's like keep pushing it forward has gotten the quality to where it is, luckily.
Yeah. I think our production's gotten a lot better just through like, especially with us working with each other, just like our comfort of like learning how to work together. You know what I mean? On the production side, I think our shit's way better, but that's also because of the equipment. Like I said, like us both having the same machines, having the same, you know what I mean?
Ease
having
of use.
Yeah, access to the Google Drive where everything is like, you know what I'm saying, just like that. Like I could hit him and be like, check this shit right now. He can send it back and shit like that. So I know that's improved, but I don't think it's really like the moment where.
No, definitely not. I feel like we've been pretty consistent with like our production but our sounds definitely evolved. Like gotten still dirty but crispy somehow. But I mean maybe that reflects in like the years of building or also learning how to mix better and just getting out what we want to hear originally.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question I ask all my producer friends. Do you guys read manuals? Like, if you get the new equipment, do you read the manual or you just jump right in?
No.
No one reads the manual.
Yo, you know what? Shout out to Mellow D from Headshot.
Literally.
Yeah,
literally. Mellow D.
Yeah. Yo, he comes through here, showed us how to chop and save the shit. It was like, I think he came for like an hour and a half, something like that.
So what happened was we originally were using that FPC shit, the black, and I'm like, fuck this new machine I keep hearing about it. I just bought one. And then I sat there for weeks. The both of us were shook. I'm like,
yeah, I've done the same thing.
It's a whole new platform. I don't know how to use this shit. We're used to an MPC, and Melody came through and was like, yo, do this, this, and this. I'm like, how do we do this, this, and this? He's like, here. And luckily got us like converted in a day, and the progress just like instantly changed.
Yeah. 100%, 100%.
I guess that kind of answers the question I asked you before about like if you ever had like that moment where you kind of walked in better than you were.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Yeah, you're right.
It makes it work.
I know I get that answer. It is nuts though. Like, I mean, I'm right now, so I'm still running on Pro Tools 8. I'm running on the same computer and rig or whatever that I used back in the Mike Monarchy days. Cause I just like, it still works for my needs. And I always end up giving it to someone else like Pillsy or Upgrade or someone to finish it off anyway. Cause I just don't trust my own ear. But like, it's and I still have the manual I have literally the manual sitting right there, and I've been meaning to open it for like about a month to figure out how to do this MIDI thing, and I just am like, nah, whatever, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I still get a Pro Tools 9 rig sitting in the closet just in case. If it's stable, it's stable. Like luckily now, like Craig said, we upgraded all our shit, so like the laptop I'm running is insanely good. We got Pro Tools up to date, like this month's release. I'm running like Avid mixing boards, so everything's tied in. But
what's been a game changer for me is that there's that chat OpenAI program. And I downloaded that, and the thing I use it for the most is that if I'm using, like, I use the Adobe Creative Cloud and I'm trying to do something with like Premiere or with Photoshop, I don't know how to do it. I just go to that and I type it in as if I'm talking to a human being, and it gives me back almost every time perfect instructions, and there's no ads, there's no video I gotta watch, just like point by point how to do it, and it's almost always perfect. It's like, yeah. So give that a shot, because it saved me so much time of Googling error messages and just trying to figure stuff out, and just it's like talking to a person without having to talk to a person.
Yeah. Luckily, Pro Tools now is semi-stable, so not too many issues anymore.
Mine's held together by toothpicks and marshmallows. I know there's going to be one day where I'm just going to have to replace it all, but hopefully not today or tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny you said about letting your friends letting you, like, you know, learn on their stuff. Judge was the first person besides myself that I recorded, and I realized the next time I recorded anybody else just how spoiled I was, because like he does 90% of the work for you.
Literally.
His voice is just so like what an MC's voice is supposed to be. And then when you do anybody else, you're just like, wait a minute, are you using that mic the same way Judge is? Like, even talented MCs, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, you don't get too many people who walk through and do, you know, fucking 48 bars in one take perfectly. You know, without breathing.
Right.
It's insane.
Yeah, it is nuts. So I don't know. You said you got three projects that are done that haven't come out yet. Any idea when those are going to be seeing the light of day?
The first one that's gonna drop is gonna be Cyborg. That's the one that we did today where it came up.
That'll be probably the 28th of April.
Yeah, that'll be the first one to drop.
28th of April?
Yeah.
That's my birthday. Happy birthday to me. I'll be looking forward to that.
Oh shit.
I'll send you a copy.
Yeah, facts,
Great, man.
facts.
Check it out.
Yeah, we're gonna drop that next. I don't think we're gonna do a single or anything for it. It's like one fun ass day. It was like what, like a 12-hour session or something like that?
12-hour day. Grim flew in from Cali for 3 days to, you know, just get out here and see his brother. And
Aztech's his brother, for anybody who doesn't know.
Yeah. So we flew out. I invited like 6 or 8 people, I think.
Yeah.
Fucking
Heads
came through.
Yeah.
We picked some beats real quick. Everybody recorded. We mixed it over the next week. I mastered it and just got the art back.
Yeah. Shout out to Piro on the art. Killed the art. That's gonna be that'll be our next one for sure.
Grim's another guy that when he walks in the room, you can tell an MC walked in the room. Like, he just has that, like, and I haven't seen him in probably over a decade, but like, he just has that look to him. You're like, this dude's got something to say. Like,
For sure.
Grim's a beast. Shout out to Grim who just dropped. He just dropped his first joint after from COVID and coming back fighting the fucking champ. You know what I mean? And like, he just dropped I think an 8-track project with Ugly John.
Another knuckle dragger.
Yeah, another knuckle dragger producer. And it was mixed by shout out to Tali Rodriguez. He mixed the whole thing. It sounds crazy. But yeah, man, hearing Grim back on the mic, like after, you know what I mean, being at like death's doorstep, you know what I mean? It's like crazy, man. And it's dope. And he's sounding even better than ever, dude. Like he's still killing it. He still has the murderous bars that you love from him and everything. Like, yeah. He's and he's still working and he's inspired, and like that's what I feel like. Heads like he's mentioned that to me personally, saying like, you know, that, you know, we've kept him inspired, and like he taps in pretty much every session that we have. You know what I mean? Like, or once a week, like he'll call like on Messenger or something, like a video call. And yeah, man, it's a blessing to still have him here, bro, let alone making the music, you know, we're making with them. And so yeah, man, having him come up, he got on like 3 or 4 joints on that tape we talked about outside work. Yeah, it was crazy. It was dope.
it's awesome. So Knuckle Draggers, why don't you talk a little bit about that? Like, what's formation of that? Who's in it? Whatever.
It is myself and Mathais. We're like solo artists as well as CLOAQxDAGGER. It's P-Row and Tali Rodriguez, who are like solo artists, but they're both producers, they're both MCs, and they're unstable components.
All right, Chloe.
there's G Fan Black, who's just an MC. He doesn't produce, and then Ugly John, who's a producer that doesn't rap. You know what I mean? So it's like it's 5 of us are producers, but what 3 of us are MC. Yeah,
it's just a mix of like dope individuals. We're all just workhorses, really.
yeah.
You know, similar mindsets. Like at the time, we were all like doing our own thing, and like collectively as groups between Unstable and CLOAQxDAGGER, like
Yeah, it was just
fuck it, like who's down, who's putting in the most work right now, like knew like G Fam, and he was putting in heavy work and trying to break through, and it's like Ugly John was just a workhorse like that we had linked up with. I don't even know how online, like and fucking just came together and like did our fucking thing, like trying to do.
Yeah, we started. We were all doing shit individually. I feel like, you know what I mean, and like it got to a point where we got so like productive. I love working with everybody on the team. You know what I mean? I love working with everybody on the team. We were all like working on projects together, anyways. So like we were like, yo, let's just form a team. I think Pete came up with the name.
Yeah.
And and then in like 2021, we were like, between all of us together, we're gonna put out like 25 projects.
As a joke.
Yeah. We were like aiming for it, but it wasn't like we were like, if we don't make it, we don't make it. But we could put out 25 projects. You know what I mean?
Holy shit.
Between the 6 of us, we ended up by the end of the year, we ended up putting out 32 projects. You know what I mean? Like, and that's like,
and then on top of that, it was like crazy art numbers for people like from Hero and G Fan. Like,
all types.
I mean, just making art for people, or like me and Tally as engineers, like mixing hundreds of songs for people. In just 1 year, it was fucking insane.
It was crazy, man. And the thing is, throughout the whole thing, I didn't feel stressed at all.
Not one bit. It was just like
that was gonna be my question. Does it suck the joy out, or does it make it feel more like work when you work at that rapid of a clip? That's awesome.
I don't think we would do it if it was work.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Exactly. Like this is what I love to do. You know what I mean? Like our sessions, I always just roll up, burn it down, and like, you know what I'm saying? Just
be creative.
Yeah, be creative, and like, at the end of the day, it's fun, and like what, like you said, we do everything in house, so it's like it's not like we have deadlines. We have deadlines, but we don't have like
they're all mental.
Yeah. Like, they're not set in solid stone. If we have to push something back, we can push it back. Like, and that's the beauty of being independent. Like that's one of the greatest parts of the country, you know, that I think, you know what I mean, we're not dealing with a label telling us we can't put out 25 albums in a year, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? And like, so yeah, man, I suck the fun out of it to me.
It kind of pushed it further, like, yo, like 3 of us are dropping something this week, so fuck you got. Like, all right, like I mixed and mastered 2 albums. Like, you know what I mean? We made 16 beats the last week. Like, who can beat the next person? It's like
it's friendly competition.
Friendly competition.
Right.
It's fine.
But I don't think it's
not even that.
Yeah, it's just fun, man. I love, like, I talk to P all the time, or Tyler, just like hearing what they got on their plate, and like sometimes something will come out of nowhere, like on our own team, people like, oh, this song just dropped. You know what I mean? Like we just put out Between the Draggers. We produced the album for Oblivious that just came out Saturday. You know, by the time this drops.
Oh yes,
you know what I mean?
I haven't got a chance to listen to that yet. I listened to tonight.
That was a project Donnie like randomly was like, yeah, I got this idea, and we put like 4 nights of recording, like 2 hours a night, and then 2 nights of mixing, and then I just mastered it last week.
Yeah, the beauty of that project too is like everybody has Knuckle Draggers has production on. You know what I mean?
Independently at the roots.
Yeah. So
I got a solo, Crack got solos, CLOAQxDAGGER got beats.
Yeah, there's a solo Tally beat, solo P-Ro beat,
and unstable beat.
Yeah, and an Ugly John beat. So it's like everybody. It's dope to have.
And G-Fan features on it.
Yeah, G-Fan features on it.
So it's like all of us in different ways. Hero did the art.
On it too, actually. Too.
Oh shit, Maroni.
Yeah. So man, that was dope. That he put most of the work in with that again. You know, recorded, mixed, mastered shit. But yeah, man, I'm mad proud of that project. Man. That's a dope project. Yeah, definitely tap
What was
into
the name of that
shit.
project?
Dystopia.
And Donnie murders it.
Yeah, he does.
I
And
can
shout out
picture
to
the album
P-Row.
cover. It's dope looking. Did P-Row do that?
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say shout out to P-Row on the album part, man. That dude is a different kind of yo. He's crazy, man. You just give him an idea and he runs with it, man. He killed that art, and it's a perfect like. I feel like the art means a lot more now in like the saturated environment where there's so much hip hop out right now. You
Oh,
know what I mean?
definitely,
I feel
definitely.
the art has to stick out. You know what I mean? Like it's even good or not, it just has to stick out. It has to draw you to the, you know what I mean? Because you just go on and listen to the next one who looks okay. So we're lucky to have P-Row who does like 90% of our art, and fucking like half of the art in the underground. Like this
Yeah.
dude's just putting out.
And
I
people
mean,
are just starting to catch up.
like
Yeah.
hip hop is so much about style. Like there's so much about like the way you dress, the way you look, the way you sound, like your ad libs and stuff like that. So the art is just a natural extension of that. So it's one of the, you can't go cheap on the art. You gotta have something eye catching, you know. I mean, I've bought so
Literally.
many CDs judging books by the cover, and
Oh,
usually
definitely.
yeah, it's usually like if somebody knows the importance of art, they're usually, I think, tend to be a better MC to begin with. It's I don't know.
Yeah. Especially if you can tie the art to style of music to like actually be descriptive in the art.
Right.
Yeah.
Because MCing
Yeah,
really
and
is
like
about selling yourself to the crowd, and it's like so you really should just be in the habit of always kind of being in that marketing mode. If you're like an MC,
yep,
it's like you really or like
exactly.
any sort of hip hop artist.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure.
And like P, like if you send him a project and you don't even have an idea, he'll come up with the colors for the project just off hearing it. You know what I mean? Like he's a
Yeah.
diff, like he's
He's got some syntheses and shit.
yeah. He like pictures the colors when you hear certain songs and stuff like that, and pictures, you know what I mean, and goes off of that. You know what I mean? So he's incredible, man. He's dope, man.
Yeah.
It's a blessing.
He's one of those people that when I see one of the of the people like I know and I'm friendly with over the years, like, and I see a piece of art, I instantly know it's his. And it's not that they don't all look the same, but there's that little style that ties them together,
Yeah,
and just
100%.
use the color. It's so dope.
Style's undeniable.
Yeah.
He
Facts.
reminds me of.
Like,
Go for it.
no. I was gonna say he's starting to like seeing him branch out to like bigger artists outside of our campus shit. It's just it's dope. It's dope. Go ahead.
Here there's this artist named Scotty Young who draws from Marvel and DC, and he has this insane style that's sort of kind of in the same ballpark as P-Row. And every time I see him, I'm like, dude, P-Row could do this. Like he is like, and I think I told him once, I'm like, you really should like work for Marvel. Like,
I tell him all the time. Like even at that anime convention, I sent him a picture. I'm like, yo, I see this jacket. This sounds like $90. Get on your shit, bro. You should do better.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
he's just ridiculously talented cat in all aspects.
Yo, he like most of our projects, if not all of them, he sequenced them. Like we'll send him the shit, and he'll be like, "This is track one." He just
straight up executive producer and everything.
Yeah, oh yeah,
secretly.
Yeah. Fact. Yeah, man. Huge shout out to people.
So anybody you guys haven't worked with in the scene that you'd like to? I mean, like outside of your crew or anybody your eye on? Or?
I'll say like somebody we recently worked with that I always wanted to work with that's kind of on the scene or from out here was Reks.
You say Reks like REKS?
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He came through the like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, did he? Oh man, he's amazing.
Yeah. He is. He's man. He came through, knocked something out on the spot, one taked it, and like just sat down, like you know what I mean? Like
yeah, so I got to build with him. Like came through with Litem, played some beats. They wrote, recorded, got to chill, and just dope being able to work with cats or like from creators like dude I always grew up listening to and shit on ERS back in the day, and
right
being able to build with these cats now is crazy.
There's heads. I don't know who else. I would like to. Every time somebody asks me this question, I just say I just want to keep building with creative cats that are like really putting work in. Like I don't.
And on the same wavelength.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Some ill music shit, like being on some conscious shit.
Yeah.
Like be in this shit.
Yeah, not even necessarily like I like obviously working with big names and shit too, but I get more satisfaction out of working with somebody who's coming here to work, like somebody like a Judge Disciple or somebody like P-Ro who's like so like dedicated and just wants to get the job done and is so like intricate with their shit, you know what I mean? So yeah, man, like I don't know. I want to work with anybody who's talented that has that work ethic.
Exactly.
Yeah, and all those people like P-Ro and Judge D and Oblivious and Reks, like they're the type of people that when they walk in the room, an artist is there, and that they're not wasting your time. You're not wasting their time, and it's like that is one thing that was so. I think in like probably like 2000 2010 that scene, there was a lot of wasted time that went around. Like there was a lot of like sitting around like not doing stuff and just like probably doing more like selling weed and like smoking weed than actually recording.
And songs getting recorded and not getting released and like I mean I think this probably has.
I got hundreds and hundreds of songs that haven't been released.
Yeah. Oh, I got a ton of Donnie's old songs that I know I'll never see on Spotify or whatever.
Really play that it's like it's either coming out or it ain't.
Yeah, like
we're not playing.
Like every time we start working with somebody, we're like, yo, but it's coming out though. You know what I mean? Like
that's good.
Maybe a couple like the tape, but like
we're
gonna move forward to releasing some shit.
Yeah, fact.
Like we had that realization, like after working on our first project for like 3 years, like trying to get it perfect, and then
and waiting on features was like a big issue. We were like, but now we're at the point where it's like, if you're not, we have no problem like cutting somebody off the track. They're not if they're not on the same wave.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just what it is. Like like you said, like to keep it fun, we have to do that. Like we don't have to. I don't want to be stressing over nobody sending us a fucking verse. Like, you know what I mean? Like, So.
Yeah, and it's like you either want to rap and you can rap, or you don't want to rap or you can't rap. And it's like, it's like really at this point, like any rapper should be able to turn around a 16 in a few days. I mean, I don't want to like throw a gauntlet down, but like it's like if you can't, like
And we ain't out here just trying to get verses out of people. Like let's build on some shit. You know what I mean? Let's make something dope. Let's try to push an MC in a different route than they've gone before. Or, try to get them on some shit we think they would be dope on that maybe they didn't think of. Like, but bring it back into our style and try to develop a new sound for both of us.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great synergy between you guys and who you're working with. I mean, like I said, I mean, I recorded some of Judge's earlier stuff, and it's like to hear him now, I'm like, oh, this would have been good if I could have captured this, like this sort of lightning in a bottle. I'm like, oh yeah, that's how it's supposed to be done. I mean, he was. You what?
I think the same way of all the old shit I recorded. I'm like, goddamn, this is how we should have been doing it.
I know. Do you still have all your old files? Because I definitely. So on my album, quick plug, Drinking Songs for Children, coming out next year. We got Razcast on it, Cool Keith, Esoteric, Aztech, Pilsy, all that good stuff. I have a song with Pilsy on it where my first verse was recorded when I was 27 and my last verse was recorded when I was 42, and that sort of played into the song. And this is a question I ask a lot of people on the podcast. I think is interesting is what's your relationship with your old work? Because I'm one of those people who, like, if I made something in high school and I can still use it now, it's going to be used now. And I'll take like drawings I did in high school and work them into graphic designs now and stuff like that. But then there's some people, like even some of the ones we named today, it's like, the reason why I had to go and put that track at the end is because the person that was on there was like, it's old, I don't really want my verse there, and I had to replace it with something. And it stuck me how much different of a relationship with the past I had with that person, whose name actually happens to be Judge. So what is your relationship with your past stuff?
I mean, I still have every single recording session I've ever done.
Damn.
Setup.
Except for the one I really needed that day that I couldn't find. That's always when there's like one you can't find, it pisses me off. But yeah,
there's always one that was misnamed or not named because we were all too stoned back in the day, or
you open it and none of it, and like it's there, but the files won't connect because the wave files were moved. That to me is just like, Just
Yeah, well, the file's called "Go Fuck Yourself" because you don't have a name and nobody remembers that stat.
like I'll remember
You
this
know?
forever.
Yeah, literally, exactly. So
It's like when I
there's
put my
always
car
that.
keys in a weird place. I'm like, I'll remember it because who would put them there? You know.
Exactly. There's still a song Donnie always tries to find every time we get some free tempo. There's also 3 MCs on it. I don't know the name and I don't know the beat. And we found it one time 7 years ago and moved it, and now it's gone forever. And
You know, him looking for that song to me is something I would watch. Like I said before about reality. Like I feel like you put a camera on him looking for that song and you're gonna get like some gems.
yeah, and there's thousands. Good luck.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, man, it's funny, I was listening to Audio Crack not too long ago. I haven't heard that shit forever. And listening now, I'm like, I was critiquing it hard in my head, you know what I mean? But it's like, it shows me how far we've come too, you know what I mean? Like, from that to like Sedimentary Rose, like the sound is just, it's so much better. The sound of the beats, the sound of, the recording and mixing by Matthias, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so like, but I still like it, man. I still like my old shit.
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, DJ. I'm sure
Yeah.
DJ Premier would say the same thing about the early Gangstar records. It's like you go back and listen to those, and it's like they're revolutionary for the time, but it's like, it's like it's almost banging on bucket drums compared to what he became. Premier became.
Yeah,
exactly. It's just cool to see like the progression from that standpoint. To answer your question, kind of, like I got to originally record their first project together with Practically produced and Donnie. So did the whole project, and then years and years later, doing Sedimentary Rose, and it's the exact same equation. Like Crack produced, Donnie writes, I record, mix and master, being able to hear them back and forth, and like hear how much we've all grown, and being able to come together as like a solid entity more than like 3 different characters. It's insane.
Yeah. That's dope. All right, we're even a little overtime here, but it's a pleasure talking to you guys. Anything else you guys want to talk about or promote or get in or any of that stuff? We'll have your social media up the whole time.
Oh, that's what's up, man. Appreciate that. CLOAQxDAGGER.com. Got all our shit up there. Got our vinyl up there.
Yep. Show these again.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Good looks. Yes, rough edges.
Yes. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you can get all our shit up there. CLOAQxDAGGER on Bandcamp. All social streaming networks. Digital streaming platforms. CLOAQxDAGGER.
Sweet.
Yeah, man.
Check it. Let me ask you this actually. One more thought that I had. You guys ever seen the movie Cloak and Dagger from the 80s with the little kid from E.T. and Dabney Coleman?
Yeah, it's excellent.
Yes. Okay. That's one of those. I was obsessed with that movie as a kid, and I forgot about it for years. And I watched it again a few years ago, and it is crazy. It's a crazy kids movie because there's a lot of people getting like shot and stuff like that. But like,
you just want this video game, bro. That's all we want.
Yes. There's got to be some sample in there you guys could grab or something.
There is one. I do have it stashed away for one day.
All right, I may cut this out just so that I don't blow up your spot. But like, I work with a lot of artists in San Antonio, and like I do a lot of album art for a lot of them down there. There's a scene down there with a lot of dudes and women that are really amazing. And the only thing I know about San Antonio is David Robinson in the movie Cloak and Dagger. So it's at some point they're gonna get a Cloak and Dagger theme thing, like a lady with like missing fingers. Like, man, love that shit.
Fuck yeah. Sick, man. Well, I appreciate you having us on.
All right, thank you so much. It's a pleasure. Check out all their stuff, buy their albums, and follow them because the music they've made is not even as good as the music they're gonna make. So yeah, all that good shit. Talk to you.
Draggy, y'all.
Cloak and Dagger. Side word.
Yeah. All the worst rappers are men, they belong in kitchens. We put a lot of distance between them bitches and us. I slide my fist in the cuffs, custom cuff links and kick this in the tux. I ain't permitting a cuss, ain't shit to discuss. I'm just living like I'm still pissing in cups. Look over my shoulder so I won't be surprised. Trying to catch me sleeping, only open the eyes. And stealing ideas that's supposed to be mine. The more you cut his throat, the doper he rhymes. Long ass needle, shoot this dope in your spines. Your bros with cold minds, all quoting the lines. Your art friends know they can't roll the designs. Even my old shit look like it's frozen in time. Brown liquor on ice and jet black stout. Oh shit, knuckle draggers almost left that out. Yeah.
Black Timbs, black khakis, all black North Face. Bow and arrow shank, and a face cake with war paint. On my A game, my aim decide your fate. I bail it pale, I ain't showing for the court date. Ride for the nations and natives on reservations. For the youth in my city, less education. From mom's cop shop, they see the devastation. So I follow rules, shoot first, no hesitation. It's win, lose, or draw. Swing, lose your jaw. And if my people's in the pinch, they know who to call. I came stepping with strange weapons and they threaten. I toss a javelin, stick your body to the wall. Albuterol, gut punch, win, loss. That boy G, stick your head with a pitchfork. I smoke half the stuff, the top with a split fork. Slick talk, pull it right over and make a bitch walk.
Nickel bag, $5 get you by the bowl pack. $10 a point wall mount, got the whole rack. 20 roll the blunt, dub spinning, still fly. No 240 beneath the trees. 8 ball is 150. Quarter for your thoughts, quarter zip, quarter pound, quarter finger, snap it off the cylinder. Scent of vinegar, I'm too familiar. I'm sliding up the scales, 3/4 off the rails. Whole kilogram sales, finger on the scales, justice dropping bombs. We bunker busts, smash the jar in several places with a Kimbo knuckle duster. Sliding 6 more bars. Sales and slide the abacus. 5 minus 1, mostly fill a bar. I'm feeling this. The final 4 grams are set aside for stormy times. 3 dimes in the spot, in the kitchen cutting lines. 2 fines, 1 charge. These feloniously barred. If I wanna get you touch pause, I put it on the card.
Yeah, look and be wise, they shook and I can see why. Put a hand on my food, you gon' lose it like Booker Eli. A bunch of crooks on they BI, the sleeping giants awaken. Some fuck the G-Ride, we want the machines that are making them. Stack paper, razor meets mass Vader. Down Rodeo with a fist full of steel. I'm Zack Taylor, hate the raw shit. Middle of the marsh pit, sitting meditating. I suggest that y'all keep caution, motherfuckers, I'm inspired. Don't matter if I'm sick, tired, and dying, I'm defiant. Take a look in these eyes, all you'll find is fire. I'm alive, feel like radiant lightning flying from my fingertips. Give me the keys to wisdom, I'll disintegrate the ignorance. Far from pacifist, multifaceted, that hard to Lazarus. I stumbled and blunted and sunk your battleship. The masochist can't do a thing to me, it's more than arrogance. I'm passionate, refine my mind and civilize the savages.
Hey, yo. Fly talking the beat, I skywalk. Black Jesus live thought for the street. My mind talk, speak parables and fresh robes dipped with thick Cuban chains. Rick Rubin, stupid ruby stains, fluid shooter aim. Cooper came sharp cuts with diamonds deluxe. 24 karat geese, peace blinded you fucks. Ambiance plush, feathers be the aura, 60-point scorer. Lighting joints and Bora Bora, tipping the poorer. Cross border visa stamps, we the champs. Keep the chance in your bullshit advance. We moving peas, dope lines, Peruvian keys, the coolest breeze. 32 degrees, freeze be the steeds, but Sudanese. Dark skinned chicks on their knees, she giving brains too. Salute the gods when we came through, son, we raised you. Poppy style, daddy, cool bars, illuminous. Shine beyond the Hundle foreign bundle, show improving this. Buddha fist pose, Royce Rose, elegant flows. Art soul, so exotic, melodic. Dipping the product, Reaganomics, supersonic. Gary Payton with the glove leather. 38 snub Beretta, I'm much better. Tough sweater, Coogee tight, bougie life, I truly write. Crack like the Pookie pipe, fuck around and lose your stripes. I lose the strike from the cannons when I bust. And still shaking off the rust, don't give a fuck. What?